from the All Indiana Podcast Network. It's Diversity Focus Today. Now, here's your host, Rickie Solid Gold Clark.
And welcome everyone to another edition of Diversity Focus Today. I am your co-host, Rickie Solid Gold Clark, along with Dr. Tammy T. I love to call it Dr. T.
Just call me Dr. T. That's
Just Dr. T.
Yes, Tammy Harris. Yes.
Dr. Tammy Harris, Dr. T.
Yes.
And we've got our guest today is Sheryl Wisei.
Hello. Yeah.
And our other team member, Mike, is on assignment this afternoon, whatever time you watch it. Might be tonight, depending on when you're watching us. And, of course, our other team member, Brian Wallace, is doing his thing, along with Alan, making us look good and sound good.
Thank you, Alan.
Today's topic is a number of things. I forgot to mention, our program today is brought to you in part by Gino Shelton, DJ Gino, who's celebrating his 40th anniversary this month, the end of September. And with a big concert at Clues Hall here in Indianapolis. On Friday night is the old school concert, and then on Saturday night he's got a big comedy show as he continues to celebrate 40 years in the radio industry. So we certainly want to appreciate Gino for being one of our sponsors today, and thank you so much, G-Money. So we are here lately, we've had some major incidents that have occurred. The school shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We want to talk about that briefly. And we've got an expert dealing in bullying and school everything. Sheryl Wisei, who's our guest today, is one of the creators, or is the creator of one of the largest back-to-school celebrations that we have here in Indianapolis and in Indiana. She's had folks come from all over the country to talk to her and watch her and help them create back-to-school celebrations across the country. Hers has been so successful. She did it for 18 years, had an average of anywhere between 15 and 20,000 people that attended this event. And the event was basically only 4 to 5 hours. But she made it work, and it's grown and grown and grown. So, and yeah,
Yay.
She's been an expert on, she's in education, of course, and she's been an expert on bullying. And oddly enough, if you do your research, you'll find that you'll see bullying in every school system in the country. And that is quite alarming. So, Sheryl.
Yes.
And we talked briefly a little bit about the back to school. Tell me, in your own words, why and how you created the Family Fun-Filled Back to School celebration that's been so successful here in our area.
It was during that period when Columbine was here, and the kids killing kids, kids fighting, and so forth. And so my vision was to bring together a partnership, and that was between Indianapolis Public Schools, Perry Township, Indianapolis Police, Diversity Focus Today, the stations of Radio 1. And the message was, parent, participate in your child's educational process. And so in order for you to come to this event, you have to bring a parent or guardian.
Okay. So now, we've spoken from time to time about parents. Now, I know when I was in school, they had PTAs, and the parents, when you first started the school, had to come to one of the PTA meetings or meet the teachers. I don't know whether they do that anymore. Doc, do you know, since you're still in that arena
Well, it's
somewhat?
been a while since my kids have been in school, in grade school, but I had noticed toward the end of my youngest, he's 26 now, but during his early, like 8th grade, 7th, 8th, and high school years, they stopped doing parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, okay.
So I was kind of confused about that. I'm like, well, when are we going to speak with your teacher? Well, they say if your grades are okay, you don't have to come. And I said, well, when did that start?
Yeah, see that.
when did that start? So I saw that was actually a surprise amongst even when my oldest child was in grade school, we used to have birthday parties there, and everybody was always included in, celebrating that student's birthday, some kind of year, and we would bring baked goods and different things. And I noticed that had slowed down between our oldest and youngest, where it was less participation. So I can also see how a lot of kids have been being left out of birthday parties or things outside the school that, they couldn't attend, or their classmates. So yeah, a lot of different things I think had started to slow down as my kids were growing up during the 90s up to the early 2000s. I saw a decline in parent participation and events that I used to do even when I was in school. Like you said, there was always a lot of connectedness with families and birthdays, celebrations, and award nights.
Yeah. Well,
there was very few award nights that, I noticed in my kids' elementary school years.
See, that sounds like that's where the problem began to surface, or like you said, the breakdown, because
it was less parent involvement, and you saw that too, huh, Sheryl?
I saw it. And what really motivated me, the fact that you are sending your kids to strangers. You don't know the teachers. You don't know the janitor. So participation is very, very important. And once the kids see that, they get motivated because you're interested in what they're doing.
Yeah.
But never forget that you are sending your kids to strangers. You need to know the personality. You need to know how they teach. You need to show up and volunteer.
Well, and you're right. I never really kind of looked at it like that, but you're right. You're sending your kids to strangers, and you don't know their personality. You don't even know their history. The schools are supposed to do a background check, but do they? Do we really know that they do a background check? I mean, how many times have we seen on the news, especially during high schoolers, where the teacher romantically becomes involved, or vice versa with the student?
Yeah, male and female.
Yeah,
teachers.
male and female.
Right.
So, and then some of that, the teacher has a history, but the school said, well, we didn't know. Well, did you not check?
Right.
Did you not run a background check
Right.
on these particular individuals that you've hired to teach your students, or just teach our students, our kids?
And I noticed with my kids, and then when they were in school, I didn't not only ask what they learned, I said, well, what made you laugh today? What made you smile today? So you have to also check in the emotional well-being of your kids. And a particular example of that I noticed is my middle child, when she would come home crying all the day, upset, extremely upset, I'm like, well, what's going on? So I go to the school where they got to know, okay, I wasn't a doctor then or anything. I was like, here comes Ms. Thompson, okay, here she come. And it was like, what's going on? Every time my daughter get home, she's full of anxiety, she's crying. We have a stop, go, green, behavior chart. And when you get red, she get upset. I said, well, what's going on with why she's getting red all the time? Well, I don't like the sound of her voice.
What?
That's what the teacher told me. My daughter's voice was so high and squeaky that when whether she was talking or when she heard her voice, she got irritated. And then it got to a point, I said, well, let's do this. I said, instead of you just flipping it red for her, send me a note. This is like you say, involvement. Send me a note about what's going on. Well, I don't know if I can do that. This is fair, sister. I said, well, you can do it. You started this process. You can do it this way for my child because I'm looking out for her emotional well-being and well-interest. So she started, sending the little notes. My daughter didn't know whether she got red or green or yellow. She just sent home a note. And then the notes got less and less because she couldn't identify any problem or extra. And my daughter started to feel more confident and done well. So definitely just check in beyond just what they're learning. Check in about their emotional well-being as well. How did you feel? Did you fight? And then they'll talk more a little bit freely because they don't have to feel like they're hiding something or nobody will understand, things like that.
Those moments in being in school and discovering that parents have not left the phone number with the teacher.
Oh.
in case of an emergency. I mean, that is painful. You know, these kids are looking for their parents. We can't get a hold of the parents because the parent didn't leave their number.
Emergency number.
Well, see, wow, if you had never heard of a
Yeah,
teacher disciplining,
but that goes to show how personalities, like you say, you don't know who you sending. Could be the greatest teacher, been there all the time, but it's a conflict between you and your child because of their sound of their voice. Are they having a bad day?
and based on all of what we're talking about, that is why the back to school celebration came about, because of that. And my heart was saying, parents, you don't send your kids to strangers. You don't know these strangers. They called them teachers, and that's true. That's right. Or Mr. Brown or Mrs. Brown, but they're strangers.
So with the back to school, were the teachers required to be there as well? Was it at a park or in the school itself? Back to school kind of transfers?
It was in Perry Township area. It was also at IPS, Indianapolis Public Schools.
It was a joint venture between Perry Township and IPS. It was held at an IPS school, one of the bigger schools. And because they had the community that Perry, the kids that were bused into Perry Township came from the inner city, the Brightwood, Martindale area.
Oh, okay.
So when Sheryl created the back to school, they did it in that community, and you know, folks that
so they wouldn't have to worry about transportation.
Yeah,
like
plus,
but they did provide bus
transportation
if they did it.
Oh, okay. So no excuse.
None.
There was no excuse, and everything was free. The kids got free haircuts, of course, food. They got tennis shoes. They got backpacks. They've got, you know, all the things that you may need for school: rulers, pencil, pens, paper.
Oh, wow.
Everything was free. All you had to do was just show up, and primarily show up with a parent. And it grew and grew and grew and grew to be in that vicinity of 15 to 18,000 people that would attend a basically 4 or 5 hour event.
To come as well.
Yeah.
No fights.
No fights. No gun violence. No nothing.
Nothing.
Which was amazing when you get that many people from all over. But you know, everything ran smooth. So we certainly want to highlight. We're highlighting that, in addition to the fact of what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now we find out that the shooter had been a student of the Catholic school.
Right. A while back, right?
A while back, yeah. He was 23, I think he was, but still, he had been a student there. So he kind of knew how the procedure, you know, in Catholic Church you have Mass before school, and knew that all the kids and a lot of the teachers were in the chapel preparing for and during Mass. So, but we got to take a break right now. So we'll be back and talk further about what we're talking about right after these communications.
DJ Gino presents the Funk Fest. Friday, September 26th with Doug E. Fresh. The Funk Fest with Confunction. And it's all the way live with Lakeside. There's more with Midnight Star plus Al Hudson and One Way. Then September 27th, it's the Classic Comedy Jam. 2 shows at 7:30 and 11 starring D. Ray Davis. Plus, just hilarious. Earthquake, Tony Roberts, and Amber James. Get tickets at the box office and Ticketmaster.
And we're back. Welcome back to Diversity Focus Today. Diversity Focus Today, where we highlight all kind of things dealing with diversity and inclusion and other topics, whether it's educational, political, entertainment, you name it, we're going to talk about it, all right? Right now, we've been talking about our educational system and the back-to-school celebration that we have here, that a lot of schools now across the country have, with the kids now back in school. And, of course, we briefly mentioned about what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota here recently, where there were, I think, 17, well, there were 2 kids killed, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yes.
And then there were 17 others, students and teachers, that were injured when the gentleman, I ain't gonna call him a gentleman, the crazy
Shooter.
person, the shooter, opened up
Needs help.
from outside of the school and just started shooting in. And what he did before he started, he took a 2x4 and put in between the doors so they couldn't get out.
I didn't
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, at the main entrance, trying to, so when they tried to get out the main entrance, he had a 2x4 stuck between the doors, so they couldn't get out that way. Obviously, thank God, there were other areas that they could get to and run, but all he just started opening
Because he
fire.
knew they were going to run toward the door, and that's
Yes.
where he was aiming toward. Wow.
And so he put a 2x4 to lock the doors so they couldn't get out that way, and just opened on fire. And as we speak now, we don't know because they're still investigating. What his mental. Well, we know he was crazy, obviously, to do something like that and fire on children. But they're still investigating, and apparently, and Doc, throw this to you. There appears to be not many signs, at least according to the investigators, that they've located yet as to this young man's mental
Right.
capacity.
Right. And that's I wouldn't say we are all good actors, but that's just the thing is mental health is specific to one. It's individualized. Yes, we have an overall DSM, 5 that categorizes different diagnoses and say this is this and this, but it's a lot of differentials where it doesn't fit the status quo. So I think he was able to attain a lot of the weapons because there was no history of mental illness. There was no warning signs, I guess. Maybe I think I heard something about his being bullied or something because of his gender or something like that. Was he tried to transition or
change
something?
genders,
Right.
yeah.
But that doesn't still make a staple poster child for what school shooters look like. I think more than anything is those that are feeling isolated. Kids that are feeling cut off from society, whether they're transgender, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. I think when a person, a child, especially at the identity years of between 15, maybe 18, 20, where they're trying to identify themselves and don't have that social connection established from their childhood, that's where a lot of where do I fit in, where do I alignment. And if you look at, I think, the status quo of the shooters, it's all the same, in that same aim range and race of children in their mid-teens, early teens that shoot. And I think it has a lot to do with social isolation, which could lead to mortality of harm to self or others. So think about, when you talk about some signs, how involved are your children are, not only with their social, with their peers, but with yourself and family members. Do they work? Do they got part-time jobs, staying active, and connected to society through work or gym, what clubs, basketball, baseball, chess club, reading book, so keeping them in a positive, I think, environment where they can socially be interacting is good. Mood, depression doesn't really look like sadness in teens. It comes out in anger or frustration or irritability. So just kind of monitor the mood swings, identify, how stable they are when it comes to being happy or sad or irritable throughout the day, kind of see what triggers them. One thing I say to counsels or people I counsel is talk about the day. You get to learn more about people in their everyday living than trying to figure things out. Well, I went to the grocery store and this cashier just pissed me off. Oh, not necessarily red flag, but it shows that where your irritability is, what's going on. So you listen to just everyday living stories of some people. Listen for those small things and see the pattern. Well, it seemed like during this time and this time I drive and I'm more irritable. Let me not drive at this time, or I wake up between this time and I'm more tired. You adjust your sleeping, So monitor your kids' moods throughout the day that aligns with everyday living to show shifts. So it's those little things that we take for granted that builds into habits and then, other things that are probably disruptive for them. And were you an educator as well?
Educator.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you the profile of a student. How can you tell?
I don't know necessarily, again, how you could tell, because to each is his own when it comes to that child. And this, again, looking at that individual child, if they're a straight A student, of course, they start getting Fs. Well, maybe that's a red flag of something going on. or if it's a change in the family dynamic with a loss of a parent or a divorce, something's going on, because the child is also depending on their more society than in themselves, especially if they're young, they can't figure it out. So I don't know particularly it's a major profile, as it's just the similarities between the people who are out there committing these crimes.
I'm just thinking about those kids that are in school and they stay to themselves all the time, no friends, just walking or not.
You see, during my early training becoming an art therapist, I worked at one of the alternative schools here in Indianapolis, and most of those students, yes, they had some with behavioral, but some of them are very smart, was very brilliant in a sense of they couldn't fit in because they were bored. They were bored with the standard curriculum of learning, that it didn't challenge them, where they go off in silence and learn life on their own, or again trying to find that connection. And that's why, and then the way I connected, because it was what is it, like those old movies where the principal come in and shape things up, but they didn't trust me. They was trying to implement for the first time an art therapy program in the alternative school. So I kind of led that. The two things that I think connected me to these particular students, not that they were all bad, some of them were brilliant, some of them just didn't have a way, some was worried about the food that they were going to eat prior to getting to school, or how they was going to get home, if they was going to get shot. These were stories they was telling me. So one way that I connected is when they came in that door, I greeted them, good morning, got to know their names, saying their names. They was like, weird. And then the next day I did the same thing, greeting them at the door, because they already feeling outcast because it's alternative school, and now I'm crazy because I'm coming to see a therapist. No, I treated them like I see you, and that goes back to that social isolation. Kids need to be seen as well as understood, as well as listened to.
Yeah, and I worked in alternative school for many years.
So you probably saw some of those brilliant.
As you were talking about it, I was seeing John and Julie and Mary and Frank, and that means you just have to care about them.
Acknowledge.
That's what they're looking for.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, ladies, I hate to interrupt you. We can carry that on to the next show.
Yay.
But we have a tribute. One of the top DJs in the country recently passed. He was in our market for 15 years or so. He Jay Johnson, Super Jay Johnson. He was in Chicago, then Indianapolis, and then Dallas, and he recently passed, and so we have a little tribute we'd like to show you about Super Jay Johnson.
Tear off the knob.
You know I did that already. Aretha Franklin weekend. Super Jay Johnson rocking on the radio. I want to rock hard, baby.
It's time. A jam, y'all.
America's best.
Fresh 105.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
Patsy Boy, this is cash money. $1,005 in cash.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Patsy Boy, tell me, what station gives us the money?
Power 105 WTLC.
Hey, Stevie Wonder. That's Alexander O'Neal. Power 105 WTLC. I got what you came here for. Don't forget, Power 105 WTLC has a number that pays, and the number is 65368. It's worth $105 in cash.
This is an Aretha Franklin weekend from
Power 105. Power 105.
Package for guaranteed details.
Thank you, Larry. Power 105 WTLC. There is no truth to the rumor that Bill Cosby is going to have me on his show.
This is Bill Cosby, and I'm saying whenever I'm in Indianapolis, I'm listening to Super J.
Jazz at 45 with tender, loving care.
Slowing it down for WTLC listeners on Power 105, this is Mr. Michael Franks. Innuendo for the NAB. Power 105 WTLC. It's Michael Franks. I'm Jay Johnson. Partly cloudy, cool this afternoon. High 56. Mostly cloudy tonight. Not quite so cool. Low 40 degrees. Tomorrow partly cloudy with a slight chance of afternoon showers or T-showers. High around 60. Rain likely with a high tomorrow of 6 zip degrees. Power 105 WTLC. We call it Aretha Franklin's Music Weekend at Power 105. You got it when you want it.
Hi, this is Smokey Robinson on Laser Stereo Power 105, WTLC, where the music is on compact disc.
Power 105 WTLC on America's Best. That's Smokey Bill.
The rhythm of the city. Power 105.
Hello.
105, the winning station to WTLC's GTE mobile laser line.
Power 105, Gino, thank goodness it's Friday. Shelton back out in Laser One. Looking for you. If you know the phrase and the lucky number, you could be a big winner from the Power Station. Power 105.
J. Johnson, J. Johnson, J. Johnson, J. Johnson, J. Johnson, J. Johnson, J. Johnson.
Power 105.
Lock it in.
I got it. WTLC on America's Best on a TGIF. Gino's out at Power 105's Laser One trying to give away cake. You know what cake is. Get your slice. Power 105 WTLC and the lucky number is 65368. WTLC Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
We are back with my tribute, or our tribute to Jay Johnson, who meant a great deal to our community, as well as yours truly. Jay and I worked together for over those 15 plus years. In fact, when he first arrived at the city, I went and grabbed him and took him around to the different places so he'd know where the barbershop would be, where the grocery store, where the pharmacist, and just introduced him to different people, him and his family. Took him to dinner, him and his family, when they arrived from Chicago, because they didn't know anybody in Indianapolis. So I was the first, as he says, I was the first friendly face that he saw. And he would always say, man, I'm very much appreciative because you took the time to take me and my family around, took us to dinner, because, you know, we had not been in Indianapolis. We would drive through Indianapolis and through the state of Indiana,
Right.
heading south, but not, you know, spending any time. So he was very well recognized within the industry. If you didn't, that voice, that golden voice, folks talk about my voice, but Jay had one of those golden voices as well. So our salute to Super Jay Johnson.
Condolences to the family.
Rest in peace, and our condolences to his entire family. And so that is our tribute to Super Jay Johnson. So it's about time for us to get ready to get on out of here.
Yes.
Any passing words, Tammy?
You can reach us on Facebook at Diversity Focus Today, as well as Diversity Focus Today with Rickie Clark on YouTube and All Indiana Podcast Network on Wish TV 8. We have our GoFundMe page link on those pages as well. So you can click that and contribute or sponsor us and whatever to keep your voice alive is here.
Yeah,
on our station. We want that free speech, understanding, conversations.
Yeah. So in our next segment, next show, we'll talk more about education.
Yes.
And we'll also talk about the things that.
Thank you, Sheryl.
Thank you, Sheryl Wisei.
Appreciate you being
Appreciate
here,
that.
too.
So we've got to run. We'll see you next time on Diversity Focus Today. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And listening.